This introduction presentation of the tour to the group of 42 board games guidance. Jeff is meeting this group who has just boarded the motor coach after taking a tour of Seattle that ended with a trip to the top of the Space Needle. They are beginning this 8-day tour with a ride from Seattle to Vancouver, BC to spend their first year. Jeff.
Sorry to hear that. I get dressed up. So just so you know, this isn't necessarily a speech for me, but practice for my first tour that I'll be giving, as you all have just gotten on the bus and done with your tour. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the beginning of your 8-day Canadian Rockies tour. My name is Jeff Sanders, and I will be your tour director for the next 8 days. So I hope you like me, because if you don't, you're stuck with me anyway. I'd also like to introduce to you my motor coach driver, Billy Bob. Billy Bob has been driving for over 20 years. He's an extremely safe driver. I feel lucky to have him with us, and he'll keep us all safe. How'd you like your Seattle tour? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Space Needle?
Great.
Pretty nice, great views up there, isn't it? Quite an amazing feat for 1962 World's Fair. How many have ever been on a motor coach tour before? One person. 3. How many have ever been to the Canadian Rockies before? I knew you would. Well, if you've never been to the Canadian Rockies, you are in for a treat. And if you haven't been there, you know the treat that you're in for. Today's not a real special drive. We're going to be leaving Seattle, have about a 3-hour drive to Vancouver. We'll be crossing the border, spending the night in Vancouver, have a nice meal. The next morning, just a brief overview, we will be going over to Victoria, which is the capital of Vancouver. It's on Vancouver Island. That's got some beautiful old historic and legislative buildings and unique landscaping. It also is the home of the Bouchard Gardens. If you have never been there, it's incredibly beautiful. You'll enjoy that a lot. We'll come back from Vancouver Island, spend one more night in Vancouver, and then we will head east over on the Trans-Canada Highway to the Okanagan Valley. The Okanagan Valley is quite a large valley, beautiful, lots of orchards, vineyards, lakes. Lake Okanagan is huge in there. Golf courses. If you're a golfer and you see this valley, you're going to want to go back there someday and just go golfing for a few days. Beautiful place. We'll spend a little time wine tasting, and we're also going to go to the headquarters for Lake Okanagan and learn a little bit about Ogopogo, who is the lake monster that lives under Rattlesnake Island. The next day we'll continue east, and we'll be going along the Trans-Canada Highway through Revelstoke, up through Canada's Glacier National Park, incredibly beautiful, over Rogers Pass, down in through Golden and Yoho National Forest, beautiful national forest there. Emerald Lake is there, and then we'd end the day staying in Banff at the famous Banff Fairmont Springs Hotel. It looks kind of like a castle when you see it from a distance. Beautiful place. We'll have a little bit of time to go around town that day, and then from there we're going to get some sleep, get up in the morning because we have a long day. We're going to take a gondola ride in the morning after breakfast up to the top of Sulphur Mountain, get a view of all of Banff and the surrounding area. Incredibly beautiful area, popular hiking area, lots of wildlife around there and so on. From there, we will go back to the motor coach and head for our lunch destination, which is Lake Louise. This is an incredible, beautiful lake, known as the Jewel of the Rockies because of its emerald colors and stunning views. We'll have lunch at the Chateau Lake Louise, which is a beautiful old building there, before we take a small walk along the lake and continue to head north on this incredible drive up the Columbia Icefields Parkway. From here it's about 100 miles to the town of Jasper, where we'll spend the night. Along the way we'll stop at the visitor center in the parkway, and you can look across at the Athabasca Glacier, which has receded quite a bit. It used to come almost all the way down to the road, and now it's back up there quite a ways. But the Columbia Icefields are phenomenal. They cover over 125 square miles. They're up to 100, I think 1,100 feet deep in places. They straddle the continental divide, so they actually drain into the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans. It's just an amazing place. The next day in Jasper, you have the opportunity to walk around town, go hiking, do what you want. We're taking an optional tour over to Malign Lake. Malign Lake has been touted by Reader's Digest as the greatest cruise in Canada. It's only about 90 minutes, but it goes back into a thin lake, kind of like Lake Chelan, and it's just surrounded by all these beautiful mountain peaks. So we'd be able to do that, we can still come back into town and spend a little time. The trip back takes us a couple of days. We're going to continue back on the same highway we came up because it is just so pretty. When you go south, you have the same views, but they're completely different going south than they are going north, and so it's just incredible. And we'll spend one night in a little town of Salmon Arm, quaint little town, great little restaurant. And from Salmon Arm, the next day, we will stop for lunch in Kamloops, where we'll go to the ginseng factory and learn more about this fascinating root and all of its magical powers and how they grow it, to end the evening in Seattle for a beautiful tour. I can't imagine that you could ever take a drive any more beautiful than this. It's incredible. A couple things I want to go over real quick. If there's something you're unhappy with, please let me know. Don't share it with everyone else that's on the bus. No one wants to hear anyone complain when they're out on vacation having a good time. We're also going to stop every couple of hours or so that everyone has time to, we'll be taking pictures, we'll have restroom stops, and so on. There is a restroom in the back of the coach that you can use. We try to keep it for light use and urgent use only, because if it gets overused, there's no one in the back of the bus anymore, and it gets really crowded up there. The last thing I wanted to say, oh yes, we are going to have seat rotation on this coach tour. So if you like the seat you're in, don't get too used to it, because it'll be changing tomorrow and the next day. Usually it's 3 seats a day, sideways, forward, backwards. So for now, sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. For our drive up to Vancouver, I'll be coming down, collecting your passports for the crossing at the border, and let's have a great trip. Thank you.